that makes noise, put it on vibrate or turn it off. Or if you have a technical device that is only made for vibrating, I would suggest you turn that off because you might make noise in case that goes off.
Into a puddle of red carpet.
I stood there open arms and said, "Congratulations, you made it all the way to the top of Machu Picchu. Can I hug you?" It should also be noted that I am perhaps at my most unfocused, though, as if I've earned the right to understand my own process enough to relax.
Developed a presence with my pictures in the neo-burlesque world here in the city, Danny. I respect these performers so much.
Doctors. You're not always right.
Our next feature is a playwright, producer, director, and poet. As I said, he is a Tony Award-winning writer and performer for both Def Poetry Jam on Broadway and Bridge and Tunnel. Dude, you did it twice? He won the Tony Award twice? Fuck you. No, don't clap at him. I'm a hater. He was on the 1998 Nuyorican Slam team that won the national title, and he is selling 100% grade A certified corn syrup at the Tricky concert upstairs after the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Steve Colman. Clap as Steve makes his way to the mic.
I feel like I don't have to do anything now. It's all lies. I want to hear a poem. I want to learn something I didn't know. I want to say yes at the end because I'm sick of saying so. I want to hear a poem about who you are and what you think and why you slam. Not a poem about me and my poem because I know who I am. I want to hear a love poem, a sad poem, and I hate my dad poem, a dream poem, and I'm not what I seem poem, and I need poem, and I also bleed poem, and I'm alone poem, and I can't find my home poem. I just want to hear a poem. I want to hear a poem about revolution, about fist raised high and hips twisting in a rumble like a Roomba. I want to follow the footsteps of Che and hear the truth about the day the CIA killed Lumumba. And because every second matters, I want to hear long poems and short poems about time and its limits, because it took less than 3 minutes to attack Abner Louim and to frame Assata Shakur and destroy Hiroshima, to kill Eleanor Bumpers and Anthony Baez, to gun down Malcolm with bullets they bought from the feds. I want to hear a poem where ideas kiss similes so deeply that metaphors get jealous. Where the subject matters so much that adjectives start holding pronoun rallies at City Hall. Because I want to hear a poem that attacks the status quo, that attracts the claps of the cats with the fattest flows, that makes the crowd pass the hat and pack my cap with a stack of dough. I want to hear a poem that makes this audience yell, "Ho!" Because I want to yell, "Ho!" Because I want to guess your favorite color, then craft rhyme schemes out of thin air. I want to hear a poem about why the statute of limitations for rape is only 5 years. I want to hear a poem. I want to feel a poem. I want to taste a poem. Give me your spot on the mic if you want to waste a poem. I want to hear a poem. So, give it up for J-Love Calderon. And everyone who brought the open mic. And thanks for coming out. I haven't done this in a minute, so I'm going to sort of cheat a little bit. And it's great to be back in Cleveland. I'm in New York. Love the city. So I'm going to do, let me see, some old stuff, some middle of the road, and some new stuff. That poem was actually what led me to Russell Simmons. That's how I met him. I was standing on the train platform in Huntington, Long Island in 2000, and I just finished teaching a poetry workshop, and I got a phone call on my big clunky black Nokia cell phone, if you remember those. And I picked it up, and someone was on the other end, and he was like, "I want to hear a poem. I want to hear a poem. I want to hear a poem." So I thought it was one of my friends fucking with me. So I was like, "Yeah, I want to hear a poem too about how you're an asshole." And he was like, no, this is Russell Simmons. I was like, yeah, fuck you. Like, Russell Simmons, he hasn't been relevant since 1992. I was like, he's a little corny now. And then he was like, no, it's really me, Russell Simmons. I was like, oh, sorry, man. I was just joking too. So he was like, hey, you know, I did the showcase the night before. We were trying to sell him on deaf poetry. And he was like, I really like, you know, I like what you did, despite what you just said to me. Can you come into the office? I was like, sure. So I go in and I finally get there, but it's a really hot August day and I was really sweaty and funky. And so I went in real quick. I got to the 360hiphop.com offices and I went in the bathroom to wash up a little, and it was like something like Def Jam liquid body soap or Def Soapatry, whatever's in the bathroom. Cleaned up. Russell comes out and he looks me up and down and he's disapproving of my I had like one pair of Gap jeans at the time and some shirt. He was like, okay, we'll hook you up. You know, it's okay. Anyway, so he's like, you know, come with me to this closet, and so we go. I am not Kathy Griffin. No, for real. I go and there's like 20 people in there, and I was like, you know, it's like one of the like an 8 Mile moment. You only got one shot, and so we go and he's like, do the thing you did yesterday, the poem about breakdancing, and don't be soft, hit it hard, do it. So I was nervous, so I don't know why I did this, but I like held my hand up like I had a fake microphone. So I was like, there was a rumble-dumble, 5 minutes it lasted, the mirror said, you are, you conceited bastard. I am the illegitimate hot white son of hip-hop. I am the bastard child of the breakdance. I slept on cardboard boxes to pay my dues. I collected bottle caps off spray paint cans so I could pay my crews. I learned how to backspin from foster parents with black skin. I won spelling b-boy contests with words like fat gold cable and wrote book reports and rhyme time to a beat I created with my fist on the kitchen table. I battled armies at the rink with my square feet and bare hands. I made my last stand a windmill pose. I chose to moonwalk in circles around my block. The Roxy was the hot spot, but the street corners where I learned to top rock, I fought the top notch, wore this blood red stopwatch, drew turntables with chalk on sidewalks so I could play hip hopscotch. I slept on the floor, people slept on my flow. I crept in the back door at late night prom shows, heard the crowd's oohs and ohs when I blew up the stage in my pinstripe leaves and my size 5 shell toes. My head swelled, so I wrapped it in linoleum to stop the spinning when I watched the fake white grinning from green white foes with bright red faces shouting, we hope you hang, from those black fat laces, filling safe spaces with traces of their forefathers' hatred taken from the pages of slave codes, masters trying to trap slaves, the trade codes like slang signs or gang signs or gas white like hang signs on the Underground Railroad. The white foes tried to snatch me in the middle of a backspin, claim me as their own, maintain that I'm the one they own. Some said, don't roam, your real father needs you. Said, it's not hate, it's just the way God made it. Then they tied me to a bed and made me listen to Iron Maiden. But I escaped, I cut the nylon cords, put the cassette tape player on pause, then jumped out the window after I left my tag and bubble letters across their walls. Then I rose from the ashes of a group home for wayward MCs. That's which way words look, trying not to be seen. A family of microphone fiends adopted me. I got spotted playing with metaphors and similes in a sandbox. Now my hand locks when I grip a pen. At first they thought I was a snake because I shed my skin, then they saw how I could shake. A little bit more later. Just a taste. That's why they took me in. There was a rumble-dumble. 5 minutes it lasted. The mirror said, you are, you conceited bastard. So, it wasn't a horrible performance, but Russell was like, what the fuck was this? With your hand in front of your mouth. That shit was corny. We'll work on that. We'll get you some new clothes, get you to a spa, you know, hook the hair up. I was like, Jesus. Actually, this is sort of a tangent, but I recently went to a spa and to get my weekly manscaping, and yeah, everyone should do it. So it was the 8th and 14th Street Nickel Spa. So anyway, you don't know. Okay, so it's okay. So it's a legitimate spa. So I call and I'm like, I'm just calling to confirm my appointment. And when the woman picked up, she was like, spa. So I didn't know if it was the right one. So I was like, is this Nickel Spa? And she was like, it's Nickel. So I was like, you're not getting the nickel of my money. So, go DJ. So this might sound strange, but that encounter with Russell actually reminded me of my grandmother. Not because he liked drunk sloppy kisses before bedtime. I was trying to decide if the beat would go. Okay. It's working? The beat is working? All right, good. All right, so she was an artist and an entrepreneur, like Russell, and she was eccentric and crazy, and she used to run a restaurant in Chautauqua, New York, which is an arts community. And during the summer, she owned and operated this restaurant called the Good Morning Farm, which was a restored farmhouse. And the customer, her employees loved her because she was always, her philosophy was the customer is always wrong. And so she would always like yell at like the kids because they complained because there were ants in the soda. And she'd say, eat it, it's filled with protein. And there was a woman who complained there was too much chicken in her chicken salad. And she was 85 and in a wheelchair and deaf. And my grandmother like pushed her out of the store herself. So she was born in Croatia and lived in Czechoslovakia. And she came here in 1938, right before the Nazis invaded her village. And she went to Julia Richmond High School on the Upper East Side. And she was always affected and impacted by war because of her the time she moved here. And so that affected her relationship with me and my two brothers. And she would, for example, one time we went to visit her in Chautauqua, and we drove like 6 hours, 7 hours. We got there in a snowstorm, and we came out, and she runs out of the house, and we're really tired, and she says, get your because she has snowshoes on. She's like, get your cross-country skis on because we're going commando training. So I was like, of course, that makes sense. And I was like, why are we going commando training? It was 12. She's like, because you have to be prepared for war. So I got my ski parka on and this, and I looked like the kid from A Christmas Story. We were out in the forest skiing, and after about an hour, I looked at her and I said, Grandmas, which is what he called her, I really have to go to the bathroom. I really have to pee. And she stops, and it's quiet, and the snow is falling, and she grabs me by the ski parka, and she says, never pee in the snow. Your enemies will find you. Dave was there, and I'm not making that up. So I was like, oh shit, she's right. I've been taking risks my whole life. Fuck. And then I was like, no, she's crazy. She's gonna chop me up and eat me. So I wrote this poem for her after she died in 1997. And I wrote it to this beat. My grandmother died and I laughed because she used to pee in the street and tell stories about shooting Nazis from bell towers with nuns during lunch because she greeted each morning with a fart and encouraged me to do the same. My grandmother died and I smiled because I'm a socialist, she screamed while pulling a knot book of poems about Yue. This might be the only poem you get. I don't love you in that I can't find the words way. My body doesn't sway when I hear your name. My knees don't shake when we make love. I wouldn't drive more than 2 hours to see you.
Amen.
Yeah. know her. But I still love you, just not in that way. See, I love you in passing. I love you like the smile you sometimes flash, hints in happiness. I love you without thinking, like blinking. I love you in the way one of your front teeth is gray. The color of my love for you. I don't miss you when you're away. I love you most when I'm looking. I love you like how Martha Stewart loves cooking. I love you in a slow way, in a you never know way. I love you in those ways, so then this way I'll know that when your love does start lifting me higher, when I start getting hot from walking through your fire, I will really mean it when I say I love you in that way. Yeah, so, yeah. All right. We broke up after I read that poem. She's like, that's not flattering.
She was cute.
Oh, thank you, Lizzie. Okay.
Fake nose, fake breasts, plastic everywhere. Fake blue eyes and your dreams of having long blonde hair. Becca wore a size 8 but was afraid to gain weight, so she threw up everything she ate, even with a little bit of food on her plate.